how do you protect? There are various ways for it. Okay, so you have to understand a lot of things, majorly like ethical hacking. You need to be learning about ethical hacking, cryptography, and vulnerabilities. What we have discussed already, there are different vulnerabilities that exist. So one thing is you have to understand the different vulnerabilities that exist, and how to analyze or how to identify those vulnerability, how to exploit that vulnerability, how to remediate that vulnerability. This is one thing, and for that purpose we use the Kali Linux platform. I think Kali Linux is already demonstrated to you yesterday by Mr. Shashi. One is the as I said, one is the vulnerabilities that you have to understand, and use the ethical hacking phases to analyze the vulnerability. I mean, follow the steps of ethical hacking to follow the or to find the vulnerability. And the second thing is to very important is basically to understand different types of attack. So in cybersecurity, there are a lot of attacks that exist. So we have to be knowing about different types of attacks. And why is it important to understand the attack is so that you can do that attack. Basically, you have to perform that attack. Okay, so it's like in the medical industry, which I given the example. So if someone wants to become a surgeon, he has to know how to do that operation and all those things, right? So attack understanding attack is very important. So there are different types of attacks, lot of attacks that exist. So some of the common attacks are denial of service attack, or DOS attack, or DDoS attack. We have man in the middle attack. We're gonna look at this. Eavesdropping attack. We're gonna look at this. Birthday attack, malware attack, drive-by attack, drive-by download attack, SQL injection attack, password attack. How to crack a password? Basically, we use the brute force method and the dictionary attack. I think that was covered yesterday in the ethical hacking phases. Cross-site scripting attack. So there are different types of attacks that we have to be knowing. There will be a session. I guess it's tomorrow on OS top 10. No, today the session is on OS top 10, where we'll be looking at different vulnerabilities and different types of attacks that you can do on the web application side. Okay, so there you're gonna learn that. And today we're going to demonstrate two particular attacks. One is the man in the middle attack, and another is the eavesdropping attack. So let's get started with it. Before getting into the demonstration, there are some concepts which we have to be knowing. Okay, so that's very important. Please understand that it's not just about getting into the attack phase and directly attacking. There are some concepts which you have to be knowing. So as an ethical hacker, one should be knowing about web application networking. They have to be knowing about Linux. They have to know about programming like PHP, Java. All these things are very much important that an ethical hacker or a security professional should be having knowledge of. Okay, it's not like the different other field, like in case of a developer, he should be only knowing about the development and it will work. But here, as an ethical hacker or a security expert, he should be knowing about a lot of things. Okay, that's where this particular domain is very unique and very different. So yeah, to get started with is TCP and UDP. These are the two types of protocols. TCP stands for Transfer Control Protocol, and UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. So what does this protocol do? This protocol is basically helps to build a connection and transfer the data. Okay, that initial handshake, initial connection that is built when you access a particular website, or try to build a connection. There's a connection that has to be made. So to build that connection and to transfer the data, we use this protocol called as TCP protocol or UDP protocol. So what happens is basically there is a client, and there is a server on the two different places. Like we are in Bangalore, and the server is located in maybe in the US. Okay, or maybe it is in Argentina. So somewhere other countries they are. And how does that, how do you connect with that server? Basically, in order to send and receive the data, there needs to be a connection which has to be built. Okay, and TCP and UDP protocols helps us to build that connection. Okay, once the connection is built, after that the transfer of data happens. Okay, so there are protocols used. I have already discussed about the protocols. Each of the protocols, they are there for performing a specific task. Okay, so in the case if the data transfer, once the connection is built, in the case if the data is a file, then what protocol is will be used? If the data is a file, then a protocol called as FTP, which stands for File Transfer Protocol, is used. Okay, and if the data is a web page, then what protocol is used? The protocol used here is called as HTTP or HTTPS, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So whenever you are downloading a content, a PDF or anything from a web page, there are two protocols that will be used. I mean, a lot of protocols will be used, but at a higher level, one is a TCP in case of a web page. Second thing is HTTP for displaying the web page, and the third thing is when you click on that file and that file has to get downloaded. In that case, you use a FTP protocol, which helps you to download that file. Okay, so internet is basically connection of protocols, and these protocols are very important that you know and that you understand the actual working of it. Okay, theoretical part everyone knows, but what we are trying to do here is basically help you to understand how it is implied in a real time, how it is used in a real time scenario. And I believe that's what we have been trying to do in the past sessions. What and all we have taken, we have tried to give you the real time scenarios, and we have tried to explain you with the real time examples and methods that will help you to further educate your students and help them understand the real-time implications. Okay, so coming back, the difference with the TCP and UDP is that TCP is connection oriented and UDP is connectionless. Okay, which means that whenever messages or data is being transferred, an acknowledgement is sent back to the server. The client will send back an acknowledgement, acknowledgement 1, acknowledgement 2. Like there are flags that are set. I believe you might be knowing about these flags: sin flag, act flag, a clear flag, and a lot of flags are there. So it tells that yes, I have received this message. In case of UDP, it will not give you any acknowledgement in return. Okay, so these are the basically difference. One is it is connection oriented, TCP is connection oriented, and it gives an acknowledgement of the data that it receives. And UDP, it is connectionless, which means that, I mean, connection is done, but it does not give the acknowledgement in return. Okay, so let's see this in a scenario based how exactly it works. So basically you have data of 1 MB, and as we know, every data gets broken into something called as packets, broken into pieces, what we call them as packets. Okay, and let's consider this as a TCP, and the same thing happens in the case of UDP. You have a data which is of 1 MB, which gets broken into pieces, what we call as packets. Okay, now when this particular data is sent, okay, when this particular data is sent to the client, what happens in the case of TCP is it is received randomly but displayed in order. Okay, so the TCP protocol, when the server is sending it, it doesn't mind every packet. It doesn't mind how it is sending it. It might send it in order. It might send it in any order. But when it is received at the other end, at the client side, the client will wait for the other packets to come, and it will display as per the order. But in the case of UDP, it displays as it is received. So it is the work of the server to send the packets series wise. Okay, series wise it will send. But in the case of TCP, the TCP server never bothers what series and which order they are sending. But at the end, they try to get the packets in the series, in the order, and then display. As I said, I already given this example. That is the reason you always see any website, it will get loaded from the top to the bottom, and not from bottom to top or from left to right or something. In some cases, the images will not get loaded. That's a different thing. But otherwise, if you have seen, every time website gets loaded from top to bottom. Okay, that is TCP. That because it uses a TCP protocol, and it sends an acknowledgement whenever it receives. So if I have to show you how the working of this TCP is, with this meme which I have received. In the case of TCP, you can see how coolly and how slowly and how carefully the sender is giving it to the receiver about take it. But in the case of UDP, the sender is not bothered at all. It just sends. All right, but yeah, UDPs are configured in such a way that they are sent in the series. but sometimes it doesn't get sent in the series. Okay, so where is so TCP is used basically in the web servers. Okay, websites and all use TCP. UDP is used by, in the case of streaming purpose, UDP is used. They say TCP is slow and UDP is fast, because in the case of streaming, online streaming maybe, or maybe in the case of gaming, online gaming, live gaming thing, or live sessions, and uploading matches while watching live matches. That is why you see that some of the, sometimes you miss some part. Okay, you miss that part because, and you will not be able to see that again. Nowadays the Hotstar and all these platforms, they use other method where you are able to rewind and see also. But if it is a pure live where you're not able to take it back, then in that case it's a case where TCP, sorry, UDP protocols are used, and that is the reason you miss out some contents there, and you will not able to hear it again. Okay, so this is about TCP and UDP. Talking about cryptography, I believe I've already covered. We have covered about cryptography, how cryptography helps in securing our data, in the securing the confidentiality of a data, how cryptography helps us. So basically we encrypt the data, and whatever data is encrypted, another person will not be able to see it. Okay, so we had that demonstration of someone receiving it. We call them as intruder or an attacker receiving it. Okay, so let's now look at the practical scenario of how an attacker will be able to fetch it, and how they are able to do the at this attack. So the attack that we're going to discuss is called as eavesdropping attack. Eavesdropping attack, as you can see it in the image, is a type of attack where two persons are talking to each other, and another person is listening to it. Okay, another person is able to sniff and see what and all the data traffic is happening. So in this case, it's just an illustration. The two people are talking to each other, but if you consider this as two systems, okay, where one system is sending, it could be a client and a server also. In that case, the client is sending some details to the server, and in between there could be a person who can sniff the packets, sniff the network, and he can see what and all is being sent. All right, this is the attack which we call as eavesdropping attack. And in order to perform this attack, we will be taking the help of this tool called as Wireshark. Wireshark is a packet analyzing tool, okay, or a packet sniffing tool, which helps us to sniff packets. When talking about the tools, please understand, apart from the vulnerabilities, apart from different types of attacks, the next thing that one has to get expertise is on the use of tools. Okay, so Kali Linux has already been shown to you. It has by default, it has by default set of all tools. Like if you want to hack a Wi-Fi, you have a tool there. You have to be knowing how to use that tool. But okay, if you don't know how to use the tool, then you'll not be able to work or perform the attack. So apart from learning vulnerabilities, apart from learning different types of attacks, the next thing is also important, which is important, is to learn on the tools. Okay, so this tool we're gonna use now, which is called as Wireshark. All right, so let me go back to my screen. I hope it's visible. If you have any questions, please use the chat button to let me know. So Wireshark, I've already downloaded this Wireshark tool, and I guess it's already provided to you on the Google Drive. You can get it from the Google Drive, or you can also visit their Wireshark official page. Okay, wireshark.org. All right, I have already told you how do you verify. You verify, from the certificates. Okay, this they have also taken something like us only. They have not taken the certificate in their name with the identity they have not provided. But yeah, this is basically the website of Wireshark, the official website. You can download it from here also. Let me post this, copy this link for your reference, and you can download it from there, or you can also download it from the what is that, Google Drive link which I have provided. So I'm going to the run as administrator mode. So as I said, this particular tool, what does it do? This particular tool will sniff the packets that are going and that are being sent and received. Okay, it basically sniffs the packet. All right, for now, just keep this thing in mind that it sniffs the packet. All right, so when you open this tool, the first thing that we have to do is select the interface. Select the interface. Now what is this interface? This interface is the one where where the data is being sent and received. Okay, so I'm connected Wi-Fi to my laptop. So I'm going with the Wi-Fi. I have to select the Wi-Fi thing. Okay, you can see the Wi-Fi adapter's MAC address, IP address. So I'm also using VMware. Okay, I have a VMware, so this is used by VMware. If I was connected with an Ethernet, then I would have this Ethernet. I would have to select Ethernet. If I have a Bluetooth connection, then I would be getting the Bluetooth. I'm not using my Bluetooth now. Okay, if I was connected to my Bluetooth earphone Bluetooth, I would get this thing same way. So selecting the interface, if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, select Wi-Fi interface. If you're connected to the Ethernet, you have to select Ethernet interface. Okay, so for now I'm selecting the Wi-Fi Ethernet. Double click here. Okay, and I'm just stopping it. Remember, this particular tool uses a lot of your processors, and if you're connected to the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi adapter it uses. So you get a external Wi-Fi adapter. Okay, you get an external Wi-Fi adapter for laptop, which is basically a small piece of adapter like this. If you can see here, you get it for 400, 300, 1000 rupees and so on. It's an external Wi-Fi adapter. Okay, the adapter which is in your system is basically an inbuilt. We always prefer to go for an external one, especially while you're using Wireshark and all. For basic work and all, it's fine, but if you're sniffing a lot of traffic, and if you want to sniff from a network and all, you have to basically use this particular thing, or else your internal Wi-Fi adapter will get spoiled. Okay, so I'm just stopping it. So as you can see, this particular tool, what it is doing is that it is sniffing all the traffic that is going out and coming in from this particular system. Okay, now we are attacking this particular system as of now. How do we attack a particular network is what I'll discuss afterwards. But right now, the attacker or the victim is my system, and the attacker is myself. I'm the attacker and I'm the victim here. Okay, so I'm doing it for your demonstration. This particular tool, as you can see, it shows us the time, it shows us the source IP. This is my IP of the system, the destination IP to where the particular packet is going on. These are basically the packets. Okay, these are basically the packets, each packet. So what I said, every data gets converted into a packet. These are the packets. Basically the protocol used, TCP protocol, UDP protocol. A lot of protocols are there. As of now, I can be able to see only, yeah, why UDP protocol. As you can see here, I'm actually using this, I'm doing this live streaming, or the, what is that, presenting. I'm presenting to all of you, and while presenting, as I said, it uses UDP protocol. Okay, that is why this is UDP protocol. For live streaming, UDP protocols are used, and that's the reason we are able to see UDP protocol. And I'm not sure what IP is this, but if you look at the IP, we'll come to know this might be Google's IP, 142.250. Let me see this. 142.250.82.18. Let me see if it gets any result, or else there are many ways. I'll not get in deep of finding the IP address and all. It is okay, somewhat from the Google server is what I'm able to see here. Anyways, coming back to our Wireshark attack. Okay, so these are the packets, and if you click on the packets, you will be able to see the further things. So here OSI layer comes into picture. You can use this particular tool while you are teaching OSI to your students, OSI layer. Okay, because here you can show them practically how that each of the layers work, and whatever you're gonna teach, that SYN flag, ACK flag, the packets, data packets with that box you used to do source destination. Instead of that board, you can use this particular tool, which becomes very easier for the students to understand. Coming back, what I'm doing is we're gonna use a website called as testfire.net. It's a website for the purpose of tutorial, which has been developed by IBM. Okay, you can use this particular website for practicing purpose or for tutorial purpose. So what I do is I come back here, I'm applying a filter. Okay, I have to apply a filter, because otherwise if I don't apply a filter, I'll be able to getting lot of traffic. See, it was just 2 seconds or 3 seconds or hardly 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, so many packets were being sent and received. Why? Because that UDP is going on, that is the reason. Now coming back, I will be applying a filter here. You can apply any filter, like you can put from the source wise also. There is this expression field here. If you click on the expression, you'll be able to get, you can filter out as per the Wi-Fi protocol. You can also do it as per the Bluetooth, or you can also filter out to specific IP address also. Like if I go to IP address, these are all the protocols. Okay, you can filter out as per the protocol. IP. Okay, IPv4. If I select IPv4 equals to, if I give the value like specific IP, it will filter. It will show only those packets with this particular IP address. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting the filter, that is HTTP filter, so that it will only show me the packets from HTTP. Okay. Continue. You have to start it once again. If you stop, you have to start it by clicking this button. Continue without saving. So now I'll be only getting HTTP based traffic. All right. Let's see this. If I click on sign in, you can see that it is showing that sign in page. Okay, so this is the login page here, and this was the request that was that was received. Okay, this went from my system. This is the IP address of this particular website. Get method was used. Okay, and it requested for the login page. Okay, login form. And this particular thing is here. So what I'm doing is I'm entering my username and password. So the username that I would like to give is, the username is basically admin, and the password is also admin for this. Okay, for your tutorial purpose, you can use this. Admin and admin is the password. So I click on login button, and when I click on login button, I can I'm able to log in here. So here the packets have got captured. All right, now let's look at analyze each of the packets. The first one, which the request which I sent, here you can see frames. Okay, frames, you can see the frame length. Okay, then you can see the Ethernet. Okay, source, my system's MAC address. Okay, destination address. We have IPv4. Okay, header, checksum, source, checksum is unverified, destination, TCP protocol. As I said, websites uses TCP protocol, source port, destination port, DIP, SIP. I still remember from my college, these things were taught to me from while I was doing BCA. Source port, destination port, sequence number is one, acknowledgement is one, and sequence number is one. Then window size. Okay, sequence. Any question? Was there any question? Okay.
No, your voice was breaking in between. Now it's okay.
Oh, all right. Very sorry. So going forward, it's the timestamp is also already here. You can see the timestamp. These are basically the things which you used to cover in your networking subject. For those faculties who are taking networking subject, I believe you can relate it with this easily. For others, maybe if you know OSI layer, you can relate this. This is how the OSI layer looks in real time. Okay. So if you click on the HTTP transfer protocol, you can see the get method. There are two methods: get method and post method. So the login, it uses jsp.jsp, and host is testfire.net. Connection is keep alive. Cookies were sent, okay, by the browser along with the request. As I said, we send some of the details to the server, and server shares some of the details with us. So this is what we were able to get. Full request URI is testfire.login.asp. This is what was requested because I clicked on the sign in page. And next is basically, I'll stop this. Okay. Next is the request that we got. Okay. The request that we got is here. And I believe this is the request. No, this is not the request. Sorry. This was the request. Okay. So response. Sorry. This was the response that we sent. This is the response that we get. All right. I'm very sorry. I'll come once again. This initially we requested the web page to give us the sign in page. It gave the sign in page from this traffic. Okay. So this particular packet is where it provided us the sign in page. Okay. So let's see one by one here. The frames. Okay. You can see the frames Ethernet 2 destination, and I think this is my system's destination MAC ID of my Ethernet port. Okay. Then we have IPv4. You can see the flags are set. TCP protocol time to live is 11. Flags are already set here. TCP protocol source port is 80. Destination port, that is my destination here. My system's port number. Flags, push, set, reset, sin, window size, and checksum is there. Sequence, yeah, this is what I was looking for. Sequence analysis, timestamp, payload, and so many other things. TCP segments, these are the frames. Okay. HTTP protocol. So this is the protocol which gave us the web page. And Apache server. Okay. See, it gave us the server shared some of its details here. Okay. So it uses Apache Coyote 1.1 server is what this particular web server is using. So web server has shared its own details to us. Okay. HTTP chunk response, data chunk, there are and if you click on this, no, if you click on this, you will be able to also see the data here. Okay. Like if you click on this, this is particularly the data, hexadecimal value, data in the hexadecimal value. This is basically the page, the web page that we got. Okay. The same thing here also. This is basically the web page that we got, which is in the HTTP protocol. Okay. So this gave us the details about the server. Okay. Then this gave us the coding part of it. Okay. The data part of it, how the data has to be displayed and so on. And this is the actual data that it gave us, which is the HTML. Okay. You can see this Altoro Mitchell, and you might also see a login page. To begin with, menu, login page, to get the latest address, please. Okay. Login form. This is the login form. Okay. Here we have login is equal to post is equal to login name. So this is the basically the coding part. Input type is equal to text. ID is equal to user ID. Name is equal to user ID. Value is equal to null. They have said so that we are calling this value later. This is for the password. Okay. And this is how it looks like in the hexadecimal form. Input type is equal to password, and button is equal to submit. Okay. You must enter this is basically the HTML page, the coding of the HTML page which you are able to see. The next thing is basically which is of our interest, that is to that is a login page. Okay. That is a login page. What we have sent to the server, the data that we have sent to the server. Now imagine you this is you what who is trying to log into a bank account. So for example, this is actually considering that this particular website is actually a real-time bank account. Okay, let's consider that this is basically a real-time bank account. Okay, so this is where the do login form which we sent from here to the user. Okay, now in this case, if it was you trying to log into your bank account, and if that bank account did not implemented a cryptography, or did not implemented what is that um, SSL certificate, or was not using an HTTPS protocol, then let's see what would happen and what is the risk that would be caused. So I come back here and I click on this particular traffic, and when I click on this particular traffic, same things. I'm not gonna repeat these things. I'm just getting to the main part here, that is HTML form URL encoded. If I select this, I'm able to see the value that was sent in the form, that is UID and password, user ID and password. We saw about this form which loaded in our web page in the previous packet, and this packet is where we entered our packet and the data was transferred from the server, from the client to the server. Okay, and through this we are able to see the username as admin and the password as admin. Okay, this is the plain text. This is why cryptography is important. Now we have compromised the confidentiality factor here. That's the reason we say to use cryptography and HTTPS in a server while transferring the data. Okay, now this is done at a local where I am the attacker and I am the victim. If you want to sniff the packets from a network, okay, then you have to there are advanced level methods that needs to be done, from where you will be able to sniff from the network. The interface that had to be chosen should be basically the other interface. You need a different another hardware device for that. Okay, so basically this is the reason why we say never do online transaction or banking transaction, or never log in to any account while you are connected to a public network, especially in cafeteria, in your college, in the KFC, okay, in maybe in airport and so on. Never do this login transaction or any of the banking transaction. It might be risky. There might be a person, an attacker, who might be sitting in the network trying to sniff your network and steal your data. Now this is the case where we have seen about the attack, how it is done, and like there are two persons, the famous persons like Bob and Alice. Okay, so how do we overcome this particular vulnerability? How do we overcome this particular vulnerability? Is basically by encrypting. Okay, so what happened was, in this particular attack, the data was sent in plain message, and whoever was connected, the attacker, was able to see the data in the plain text. Okay, so if it was the case where we were transferring we are sending our credit card data or card data or any other confidential data, then an attacker would be able to see this. All right, so that's the reason we got a encrypted. And now let's see how encryption will help. Okay, now let's see how encryption will help. I'm not sure how this would work. So there is this https slash demo.testfire.net. This is another domain where they have used an SSL certificate. Okay, you can see here demo.testfire.net, because this is powered by IBM, so they have registered it. All right, so okay. Now this particular website is a secured, it's on a secured channel. The another one which we saw was not on a secured channel. Okay, now for this I will have to stop the screening. Okay, please bear me for 2 minutes, because if I don't stop my screening, then I'll not be able to capture the packets. I'll be, it will be, see, this is what going to happen. Continuously flow of packets will be there because I'm streaming this. So please give me a while so that I can stop the screening, and I'll capture, and then I'll start screening once again. Okay, I'm stopping the presenting now. And then I go back here. This needs to be done very quickly, because even though I'm not sharing my screen, but still I'm using this online thing, no, so it might still not take me. Let me see. Okay, sign in quickly, sign in, admin and login. Even though I have tried to do it quickly, but still I'm not able. Okay, let me share my screen once again. Okay, are you able to see my screen now? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. So I come back to the Wireshark tool again here, and let me find out. There are so many entries already been captured here. So let me try to find out the packets that I had sent. Okay, these are all the UDP packets, which is not required. TLS application data. All right, so coming to this is just a randomly picked traffic. This is not the one which I picked in this test fire, but let me see if I can get cipher text. Okay, all right, so here they have transmitted the handshake has happened. Okay, server has said hello to the client, and they have shared their keys with them. Okay, key is being shared here. The same thing, cipher specific message, and the keys are sent. Hash SHA 256-bit key is used, and this is TLS. Okay, TLS or SSL, which are the encryption used for the encryption purpose. Similarly, let me see, protected. Here also some handshake has happened where the client has said hello, and they have shared the initial details to them. Okay, payload, protected payload, application data. Let me see from this last if I can get anything UDP miss out. This is just TCP SYN sequence number. You can see your sequence number acknowledgement has been given. Window size and length. Okay, that's what we are talking about. All right. Coming to the now, this is I believe this is where you have understood where the initial where did that go? Application data, protected data. Okay, ciphertext where the initial key exchange happened. Okay, I hope you are clear with this part. Now next is with the data part. Okay, what happens when we are sending the data in an encrypted form? Let's take a look at it and how it looks. Let's see that. TLS 102. Okay, application data. When I click on the application data, this is the packet. This is going to some 127.101 some IP address. I'm not sure what server it is. So when I click on this particular packet in the TLS, okay, in the TLS we can see that the it uses the HTTP over TLS. Okay, so HTTPS protocol, which is actually TLS only. So if you see here, the encrypted application data is here. Okay, which we are not able to see, and this is how it looks like in the hexadecimal form, and this is the actual data. Same thing goes for here also, encrypted application data, encrypted application data, encrypted application data, and then protected payload also. This is for UDP. Okay, application data, you can see it's encrypted. It is encrypted. So these are the packets which have encrypted the data and they have sent it. Okay, TLS protocol, HTTP over TLS. So this is what happens when a web server is using a SSL or a TLS certificate or HTTPS protocol. Okay, so the data whatever is there is been sent in the encrypted application. Now, is it possible to get this data back? Yes, it is possible. We have methods where you can decrypt this data. There are tools available from where we can decrypt the data. The first thing is basically to find out the what type of algorithm was used, to encrypt this particular data. And if you find the algorithm, the next thing is to run with multiple keys to in order to decrypt. Okay, so decryption can be done, but it takes time. It depends on the system. If you have a good server, if you have a good system with like maybe 256 GB of RAM and all, then it becomes a bit faster. The less the system capacity, the more the time. The more the system capacity, less the time. So if you have supercomputers and all, then you can easily decrypt any data just like that. Okay, so yeah, that's about the eavesdropping attack, where we are able to steal the traffic from the network and we're able to see what data was being sent. And on the other side, we also saw about the OSI layer, how it works, which you can use this particular tool for displaying, for using it to showcase it to your students and help them understand how it works in real time. Very simple tool. This particular tool is used by professionals, security professionals, while doing VAPT, while doing ethical hacking. So what do we do is we use this tool, and there are many other tools like EtherCap. Another tool is called as EtherCap. Widely used tool is Wireshark. So we take this tool inside the company and we try to sniff the packets. Whatever packets we get, we then analyze those packets. We try to decrypt the data. We try to find information from this as to what server is used, what Ethernet is used, what is the MAC address. We try to spoof them from this MAC address. What is spoofing? Spoofing basically means behaving like someone else. That is called as spoofing. So we try to send a packet which looks similar, which has a MAC address of a different one. We try to create another such device, and we try to see whether it will take that or not, whether it validates the genuinity of a packet or not. So these things are checked with the use of Wireshark tool. So anyone has any questions, please let me know. TLS means transport layer security. It's an advanced version of SSL certificate. Okay, so SSL we had earlier, now we have TLS. It's an upgraded version. Why upgraded version? Because SSL had a vulnerability. Okay, and this is one of the biggest vulnerability that it is called as one of the biggest vulnerability which we ever had. It's called as heartbleed. You can further do research and study about this particular vulnerability that existed in the SSL certificates, which allowed remote access and many things. A lot of issues were happened due to this particular vulnerability. Further, you can just take a study on this particular vulnerability. Okay, so that's about Wireshark tool. You have any questions, please let me know. Meanwhile, let me take a sip of water. Okay, so this is one attack that we saw. Going forward, we will look at another attack. Okay, before we look at another attack, there are some concepts which we have to be knowing, as I always say. some concepts that we have to be knowing in terms of real-time implementation implications. So the next topic is basically VPN and proxy. What is VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, and there are proxy servers. So let's take a look at what VPN server is and what proxy is and how it works in real time. So VPNs are used to create a tunnel. Okay, so VPNs are used basically for the purpose of security. Okay, proxies are used for the purpose of anonymity. So there is another person who is carrying your data on behalf of you, behaving like you. Like in the class, you might have seen students putting proxies for their friends who behave like someone else, trying to make their voice, which we have also done. So it's the same concept of proxy here, behaving like someone else, or you are telling someone else to take your data to them. Okay, so proxy is used for anonymity and VPN is used for security. All right, all of us, we have been using these things in a wrong way. We never know what it is, and we use proxies and VPN together for hacking, and all students try to use it, but the actual difference is different. They are two different things. Okay, so let's take a look at the case where VPN is used. Okay, how VPN is used and where VPN is used. So basically VPNs are used by companies. VPNs are used by companies, especially in the case of work from home scenarios. Okay, because I might be working for a company which is in Bangalore. The server is in maybe in Mumbai, and I'm working here from Mangalore. So from Mangalore, I'm trying to access the server which is in Mumbai, and I'm using the public internet, isn't it? So this is basically risky. Okay, the risk we have already seen it. Like I'm trying to access my server, which could be a web server, mail server, or the intranet of my company, by connecting to the public internet. We call this as public internet. So what is the risk here? The risk or the threat is that a person or an attacker who is connected to the internet can also access your data, and he can sniff your data, like using the tool Wireshark. Okay, so these types of attack happen, and that is why companies use UVPN, so that they give security, so that they protect the data from CIA. Okay, basically from the confidentiality. So let's now see how this works. Companies will There will be a VPN agent that will be installed in your system, and there will be a VPN client or the server which will be installed on the company's main server after firewall. Okay, so VPN agent is basically a small tool, a small software. Cisco AnyConnect is one of the VPN used by the companies. Okay, Cisco AnyConnect is basically a tool which will you have to just see it. It just looks like this. Okay, this is something which will be pre-default, pre-configured, and given to you by the company, and you have to open Cisco AnyConnect and click on this connect button. Okay, when this connect button is clicked by the VPN agent, that is by you, I mean, before you have to access anything, the first thing that you have to do is this. Otherwise you'll not be able to access the server. Okay, so what happens is you connect to the VPN agent. This VPN agent goes to the internet for the connection. It gets connected with the VPN client. Okay, and then through the server. So whatever data is being sent from here and here is sent or received, it encrypts or adds another layer of security where the keys are within the server, and it is not something which is in the public. The encryption algorithm could be very different here. Different companies can use their own encryption algorithms and encryption keys. Okay, so it could be a case that they are already using an HTTPS. Okay, they might be using the server might be already having HTTPS protocol, but still, as I said, HTTPS also, it can be decrypted easily. Okay, because it is in the public domain. So what happens here is, in this case, another layer of security is added. There are two layers of security here, so that first thing is they have to decrypt the VPN, and the second thing is they have to decrypt from the HTTPS. So it becomes more challenging. Okay, so there is nothing impossible, there is nothing secure, there is nothing 100% secure, but the time taken or the challenge becomes, or the level of the challenge increases. Okay, we just try to do that. All right, it's easy, we can break into anything. It just depends on how many layers of security have been put. So security professionals just try to put in the layers. Okay, so this is how the VPN works in a work from home scenario. VPNs are used basically to protect the security of data. Okay, confidentiality of a data. Next thing is about proxies. What are proxies? As I said, proxy is basically an intermediator between two systems. Okay, it helps to gain anonymity and to hide your identity. Okay, to hide your identity. What identity? Basically, I have already covered this. Okay, when you are accessing a server or a website from the internet, exchange of information happens. Okay, and when this exchange of information happen, the website will log all the user data, like your IP address, your cookies, your session ID, your browsing history, maybe a lot of details the server will be collecting from your system, and it will be storing here. Okay, and the if anything happens, they can easily trace back to you from the logs here, and they'll directly come to you. Okay, so in this case, proxies will help us to save our identity. If you do not want this particular guy to know who you are, then you can use a proxy server. So what happens here is, you connect, instead of connecting directly to the website, you configure a proxy server. Okay, you connect to a proxy server, you send your request to the proxy server, and the proxy server will take your request, forward it to the website. So in this case, and the website in return will respond to the proxy server, and the proxy server will respond to you. Okay, so in this case, it is logging the details of the proxy server and not you. Okay, so if 15.36.98.66 is your IP address, and 108.69.10.6 is the IP address of the proxy server, then the web server will log the IP address of the proxy server and not yours. Okay, so this is what happens. How hackers use this? Let's take a look now. Let's say if I want to hack into a website which is in India only, maybe an Indian website, if I want to hack. Okay, so in the forensic investigation, what happens? The logs are taken. Okay, the logs are analyzed, and from the logs, the person is been caught. So this is part of the forensic investigation, which will be covered. Forensic, I think you have it tomorrow, I'm not sure. So it will be covered in the forensic part for you. So uh, yeah, so let's see now how the hackers will make use of this particular technique in order to protect their identity. Okay, and safeguard themselves. So basically, if you want to hack into a website which is in India, again, I connect to the proxy first, which is in India, then I go to a proxy server which is in London, then I connect to a proxy server which is in Pakistan. From Pakistan, I connect to a server which is in US, and from US we connect to the web server. Now, if this web server is in India, and if any illegal activity happens, if the cops come and see the logs here, from this logs they'll get US data. I mean the IP address of US. So they have to go to US, and US have to provide the data. From US they'll get the IP of Pakistan, from Pakistan to London, from London to India, and then here. But technically speaking, this cannot happen because there is something called as cross border sections. As part of the cross border sections, US or no countries will give you data directly. Okay, we cannot reach out to US and ask them to share the data from the web server. Even if US gives also, they will be getting it from Pakistan, and Pakistan might not be interested in giving us any of the data. One thing is, there are cross border sections. Okay, it is because of the cross border laws, this is the reason why Indian government is not being able to catch and bring Mr. Vijay Mallya from London to India, because as per the laws and regulation from there, he is a citizen, he is a businessman with a clean sheet residing there. But in India, he's a criminal. That doesn't mean Indian government cannot go and catch him there, and that's a major issue. that we are having, and same thing here also. Okay, now this doesn't mean that you can easily do it, because you can easily get proxy servers. Okay, you just need a proxy. There are a lot of proxy applications. You get a proxy as an like an extension also. You can add a proxy extension also, or there are websites which from which you can directly connect to a proxy server. Like here you can connect to any European country or US servers, and then you can enter URL. So this technique is used by students. Okay, this technique is used by students. So in your college, if you have blocked any website like pornographic websites, if you have blocked torrent websites, if you have blocked YouTube or Gmail, what students will do is they'll change their proxy server and they'll enter an URL here like facebook.com, and they'll enter go. So what will happen, what you have done in your network is basically you have blacklisted certain websites, like Facebook is blacklisted, Google is Gmail is blacklisted, torrent is blacklisted, and so on. Okay, so by blacklisting, you are doing is that particular IPs you are blocking. Okay, the rest of the IPs are open. So this particular IP, the web server will allow, your firewall will allow, and that will go outside. Okay, to that server. That server will go to the Facebook, and from there whatever data is collected, that person will take it on behalf of me, and then it will give us. Okay, so blacklisting is not a method which will work good for the institutions. I would suggest you to go for whitelisting. Whitelisting is basically allowing only those websites and applications that are required. Whitelisting will help you, you know uh, uh, will ensure that students do not bypass these things with the simple use of proxy servers. Okay, so better you go for whitelisting, where you allow only those things which are required. Okay, this is a control which you can implement. So that's about proxies. And proxies is where, as I said, there is another person who's taking your data on behalf of you. Okay, in very simple terms. Then we have something called a Tor, the onion router. This is basically where the dark web plays around. Okay, they use different types of protocol. They don't use HTTP protocol, or they don't use FTP protocol. They use different protocol. They have a different type of method that works. I'm not going in depth of the um, Tor concept of Tor network, but basically Tor means the onion router. It encrypts the data every time it is sending. So Tor is another method where you can have anonymity and also security. Okay, um, yes, that's about Tor. So generally in this scenario where there are users connected and there is a proxy server, and then it gets connected to the IP, public IP, and then connected to the internet. So this is basically a scenario where you might have seen in your own home or college, anywhere, in the case of router. Okay, so there is a router, there are public IP and private IP. So the router will give you a private IP, and the router will take its public IP and send to the internet. Okay, so in the Wireshark, I showed you the my IP was 192.168 dot something. But if I check my IP, what is my IP? If I Google, it will give a public IP which is different from what Wireshark was showing. Okay, this basically IP address is my router's IP. So my router is protecting my anonymity by becoming a proxy server to me. Okay, so proxy servers are everywhere. Our router that we use, it is basically works as a proxy server also. Okay, so going with this is the attack called as man in the middle attack. Okay, a man in the middle attack is where there is, in the normal connection, there is a client and server. They exchange the data. Okay, the client is sending the data to the server, and server is is sending the data to the client. But in the case of man in the middle attack, you can see here the client and the server, instead of talking to each other, they're talking to a third person. So there is another person, like a proxy server is here, who is taking the data from here and sending it to the server, and taking the response and sending it to the server. All right, this is basically a proxy thing. On the other side, it is called as man in the middle attack. Okay, so the difference with man in the middle attack and eavesdropping attack is that with this particular attack, we are not just able to sniff the data, but we will also be able to modify the data and send it further. Okay, but in the case of eavesdropping attack, it's a static type of attack where you cannot modify the data. Okay, so there only confidentiality is compromised, but in this case confidentiality, integrity, and also maybe availability might get compromised. Okay, so man in the middle attack, you not just sniff, will be also able to modify the data. And for this particular attack, we're gonna use the tool burp suit. Okay, burp suit tool is already been given to you, and it is uploaded on the Google Drive. You can download it from Google Drive, or you can also get it from their official site, that is so portsfigure.net is their official website. From here you can download the burp suit. They have this is one of the best and widely used tools basically for web application security. Okay, so anyone wants to get expertise in web application, I would suggest them to learn burp suit. And they have also lot of trainings materials available from where one can get expertise with. Okay, so I'm gonna run the burp suit tool now. So there might be some network fluctuation when I'm running the burp suit. So this particular tool, what it does is that when it starts, click on the temporary project and click on next and start burp. Okay, so I'm starting the burp suit tool. Okay, so you can see there are a lot of tabs here. Okay, we have to be coming to the proxy tab, the third tab, proxy tab. So in this image, as I shown, there is client. The client is my browser here. This is the client. Okay, server is the server, and man in the middle is the person. The man in the middle is the attacker. Okay, is basically the burp suit. The burp suit is the attacker, and the my browser is the victim here. Okay, so the first thing that I have to do here is, as per the image, I have to make my browser send all my data to the burp suit. And for that reason, what we have to do is we have to configure a proxy server. Okay, so configure a proxy server, go to the network and internet settings. Here you have the option proxy. If you're using Windows 10, you have the option of proxy. Scroll down, use a proxy server, turn this on. Ma'am, if in case if my network gets disconnected, or if you're not able to hear to me, please WhatsApp me. Okay, so that I can understand if anything issue is happening, because this happens sometimes. So I'm turning on my proxy server here. The address that you have to give is 127.0.0.1 and port number is 8080. You have to set this in the proxy server by going to settings, click on save. Never don't forget to do this. Click on the save button. So what I have done is I have configured a proxy server now. Okay, so all my data from this particular person, it is being sent to the proxy server. Okay, now this, with this burp suit, I am making this burp suit as a listener to listen to the proxy server. Okay, so under the proxy tab, you will have intercept, HTTP history, WebSocket history, and option tab. Come to the option tab. In the option tab, if you have, there is this proxy listeners. Okay, which means that burp suit will listen to everything that the proxy server is getting. Okay, so we have configured a proxy server and we are configuring that proxy server in this burp suit. So this burp suit tool is basically controlling that proxy server. Okay, so if you have to, if you do not have this particular running tick mark, you have to add, click on the add button, and you have to add this particular proxy server to the proxy server. Okay, so once you add this proxy server, you will be able to
Sir, we are not able to hear you. So we'll be back in a moment.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
So what happened was, the intercept was on, so the traffic, whatever was there, it was not being sent and received. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to again do it. I'm gonna capture the packets, and then if I lose the connection, I'll connect back. Okay, by turning off the proxy. So I hope you have these things are clear till now. One thing is, go to settings, turn on the proxy. So we have set a proxy server in my system now. The second thing is configuring the burp suite in the proxy tab. Under the proxy tab options, sorry, I was not presenting, I just realized that. Okay, under the proxy tab, there is options. Here you have to set the proxy listener, so that whatever the proxy server is getting, this particular burp suite will able to capture and show it to us. Okay, so coming back, there is this intercept tab here. Okay, if the intercept is turned on, we will be able to see here what and all packets the particular victim is sending and receiving. Okay, so I'm gonna for this purpose also, we will be using the testfire testfire.net site. Okay, so let me configure it now. I'm gonna turn on the proxy server, save, turn intercept on, and I come back here, click on the sign in button. So here, as you can see, when I clicked on the sign in button, I have to forward this. Okay, the page is not getting loaded because it has been captured here. I need to forward this. When I forward this, then only the page will get loaded. So I'm clicking on forward, and you can see the page getting loaded here. Okay, so page is loaded now. All right, and coming back now, the next thing is admin, and admin I'm clicking. Okay, and I hit enter. Again, you can see it is not loading because it has been captured here. So when this thing is captured, we can see that request is being sent to testfire.net with the IP address, post method, do login, host is testfire.net. We can see the cache, we can see the origin, we can see the cookies also. We can steal the cookies also with this. Session IDs can also be stolen with this particular attacks can be done. And on the other side below, we can also see the username and password in the plain text. If it was HTTPS, then we would not have been able to see this. Okay, so this is the basic configuration of
So we are not audible.
okay, very sorry, please bear with me, because this is the thing which happens generally when we're doing the online thing, because the packets are being captured and sniffed. So I'll try to finish this off soon. It's almost done. So what I'm doing is, again, I'm clicking on the admin, and I try to log in. So I changed the value actually. Okay, and it did not allow me to log in. So that's the reason it was a login failed. Now the next thing is to, sorry, the proxy is turned off. I'm turning on the proxy server. Coming back, next thing is to transfer funds. There is option to transfer funds. I click on this transfer fund option, and I go back to the burp suite tool. I have to forward this packet. I'll do it quickly. So from account to account. So this is a dummy account from account 800,000 to 800,001, and the transfer amount is I'm putting 5,000, and I click on transfer money account. When I click on transfer money, I am able to get to see the query here. From account is equal to so and so, to account is equal to so and so, and transfer amount is equal to 5,000. So what I'm doing is, instead of 5,000, I'm changing it to 5 rupees and then forwarding it. And here we can see that instead of 5 rupees, 5,000, 5 rupees was successfully transferred. Okay, let me quickly turn off the proxy server, or else I'll again lose the connection. Okay, so yeah, so this is this type of attack. Another word for this particular attack is called as parameter tampering attack. Okay, so what we have done is we have tampered the parameters. What parameters? The value that was being sent and received, we have tampered that parameter. Okay, so man in the middle attack is a very high level. On the specific, if I have to say, it is called as parameter tampering. So with this particular vulnerability, what is the vulnerability here? Data is not being validated. Okay, encryption is not the thing here. The main thing is data is not validated, so there should be server side validation that should be done. Okay, so we have found many bugs. I have told this, where we were able to book a ticket for of 1,000 rupees to 1 rupees also, because when we changed this value with this parameter tampering, when we did, the server did not actually validate whether the amount was 1,000 rupees or whether there was any changes made or not. Okay, so with this we have tried there were many websites we have secured. We are able to book there was a website from a Bangalore, where the parameter tampering could be done. We ordered 14,000 rupees flowers. Okay, it was an online flower delivery portal. We ordered 14,000 rupees flower for 1 rupees, and we gave the delivery address of that their own shop, and that's how we told them, this is the issue with your site. And yeah, that's called as a parameter tampering, where you change the value and do anything. Okay, so there was a guy who was working with us, an intern. We taught him this, and this guy, he found a bug from in our own client, and he ordered a Mac laptop for 10 rupees. Okay, we were not knowing about this, but yeah, he did that. And that is something which he shouldn't have been done, but we came to know after that, and we removed him from the team. We just took him off to the team, and we have taken measures that he doesn't do it again. So there are many such websites and applications which have this particular vulnerability, and burpsuit is one of the best tool for anyone to use for web application security. And a lot of things can be done with this. A lot of attacks can be performed with this burpsuit tool. Some of the features are, you can target the sitemap functionality. You can see the entire website, pages, links, APIs. You can crawl the web application, the website. You can crawl it for offline purpose. You can launch an automatic scan. You can automate customized attacks with burpsuit. Like, you can do brute forcing attack. You can bypass OTP also with this particular tool. There are methods for that, on how to bypass OTP. Then manipulate the web request. What we have done, parameter tampering can be done here. Then analyzing application data, whatever data is being sent and received. Like we were able to see here the server details also. Sorry, I did not show you that. If you go to the HTTP history, here we can also get to see the server details. Okay, what server was used, what sessions were used. Not for this, only for this. This is the request, cookies, admin panel. So we'll be able to get to see lot of information, like server details and all can also be seen here. Okay, so we can analyze the application data, whatever data server is sending and client is sending. We can analyze this. Okay, and decode and encode data with burpsuit. We can also decode and encode whatever data is being sent, and then we can change the value of it. Okay, so these are some of the features of burpsuit, which is one of the popular and widely used tool by security professionals for the purpose of web application analysis. Okay, so this is about eavesdropping attack. The next type of attack which I would like to discuss is basically on the denial of service or DOS attack. So DOS attack, and DDoS attack, there are two things. DOS stands for denial of service, and DDoS stands for distributed denial of service. Guys, please give me 1 minute. Yeah, very sorry. I'm back. So there's a continuous call that I was getting. All right. So this is about DOS, which stands for denial of service, and the next one is DDoS, which stands for distributed denial of service attack. Okay. So what happens here is, if one particular system is trying to send multiple requests to the server, what is the work of the server? Server tries to respond to the request. So server is configured in such a way that whatever request is sent to the server, it responds. Okay. So if one system is trying to ask multiple requests, sending multiple requests to the server, it becomes DOS attack. And if multiple systems ask different requests and different requests to a particular server, it becomes a DDoS attack. In simple terms, if one of you, like if Malvika ma'am asks me questions continuously, like any type of questions or doubts or anything, she's asking me continuously, she's shouting, shooting questions at me, and I'm not able to answer her. By the time I'm answering one question, she's asking another question. By the time I'm answering that question, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and I'll not be able to answer her. So I'll be like, oh ma'am, fine. So this is DOS attack. DDoS is where all of you start asking me at one time, all of you start asking me questions. Okay, so this becomes a DDoS attack, this which is distributed denial of service. All of you are asking me multiple questions at one point of time. It makes it at a DDoS attack. Okay, so one system, multiple requests to one server, DOS attack. Multiple system, multiple requests to a server becomes a DDoS attack. Okay, so it's where the system gets crashed and availability factor gets compromised here. Okay, the server will not be able to respond at all, server will die. This is what is called as DOS attack. Common type of DOS attacks is where, as I said, multiple packets are sent to the machine. The machine could be a target, which could be a server, which could be a web server, DNS server, proxy server. It could be a FTP server. It could be a system also. It could be a device like a router also, switch also. Okay, so it can be anything. So if you're sending multiple requests to the system, trying to access and all, like thousands of requests per second, the system will crash because it will not be able to respond. Okay, the same way, this is one of the important features, especially for e-commerce websites, to protect their availability factor. Like websites, flipkart.com, it has to protect it from DOS attack. Okay, so earlier when Flipkart was new, if you remember, I'm not sure how many of you have faced this or not, but when they used to release this what is that, big billion day offer at midnight at 12 o'clock, I have faced this. I'm not sure how many of you faced this, but when initially when you had to log in and book it for at 12 o'clock midnight, you used to see that the website itself was not getting loaded. Okay, it's an unintentional DOS attack, DDoS attack that used to happen on the server. All right, so the server is to go down, the website is to go down, and people were not able to book anything or order anything. Okay, so what makes a DOS attack successful? Basically, no load balancers, less and less power. Okay, the capacity is not there. Load balances means if this server goes down, there should be another server which will come up and carry that. This is basically this will help the server to be able to respond to the request. So what part of cybersecurity is compromised here? It is the availability factor that gets compromised. Okay, and some of the common types of DOS attacks are UDP flood, flooding a machine with UDP request, flooding a machine with ICMP request, SYN request or ping of death, HTTP flood, continuously requesting for web pages from multiple devices. So a DOS attack can happen at various layers of the OSI model. So at application layer by sending get floods or slow post methods, session attacks can happen, network attacks can happen, that is UDP floods can happen, and so on. So DOS attack can happen at a various level. Okay, so how do hackers perform a DDoS attack? Basically a DDoS attack, they basically use something called as bot or botnet. Okay, so what is a bot? A bot is a device which is controlled by someone else. Okay, so a bot is a device which is controlled by someone else. So hackers will make or will create a botnet of systems, and they will control the device. And through what type of attack are bots created? Bots are created using social engineering attack. Okay, has Shashi covered to you yesterday about drive by download attack, wherein just by clicking on any application, the malware will get downloaded into your system. Like steganography concept is also used here. Okay, so what will happen? There will be a small malware that get inserted in your system, which will make your system as bot, and you will not be knowing at all about this. Okay, so your system might be acting as a bot where some attacker is controlling it, and he is running a command from where your system is sending the request. Okay, so attackers do this. Bot is one of the biggest threat to our to the IT in today's world, because it could be your any one of your system also could be a bot today. Okay, and how do you check if your system is a bot or not? Basically you use the command called as netstat. Okay, netstat is a command to check active TCP or UDP connections. So basically go to CMD, and in the CMD enter this netstat command and hit enter. It will show you the active connections that your system has made. Okay, where and all it has connected. All right, so from this is my local address and this is the foreign address. So my system is continuously has a connection established, a TCP connection is established with these particular IPs. And if you want to find out what IP is that, go to who.is, and from here you can enter the IP address and you can find out like 127.172.183.69. Okay, I'll be able to find out the details here. This is one way. Apart from this, there are many ways. This is basically some Cloudflare. I believe this to be of the Google maybe. Okay, here I can do diagnostic also. DNS records also I can found in diagnostic. We can do a trace route. I think trace route is also covered yesterday, just to find out the location, the different paths. These are the different hops. You can also check for these IP address, and you can analyze what to which system your uh, system is connected to. TCP established connection with these many domains. Okay, and if you want to end any of the connection here, you can do that with the netstat help command. Okay, so I'm running out of time, but you can just Google for netstat commands, and it will give you the list of commands where you can stop the connection, build the connection. Okay, so this is where hackers make bots, and through your system they perform a DDoS attack. And if the investigation is done, police will come and catch you, because your IP address will be recorded there and not the hackers. Okay, so that is why we have to be very careful while downloading any application, and also by while down clicking on any link. I think in the social engineering attack you have clearly known how much vulnerable we are. Okay, so these things happen These are the common types of attacks. Apart from this, there are many more attacks, which one has to be knowing in order to analyze the different vulnerabilities. Okay, so with this, today we have seen about the proxies, VPNs, how it is used, cryptography, the OSI layer, Wireshark tool. We saw the different packets and how the packets are sent and received. We saw about the man in the middle attack or the parameter tampering attack. You can try it out with different web applications, but make sure that you use a proxy, or else if you do anything, then police will come and catch you. So it's a very risky thing. It becomes hacking, or black hat hacking. So be very careful while doing such activity. And last, we discussed about DOS attack, which is a common type of attack, or a DDoS attack, how it is done, how DDoS attacks are done, basically using bots, and how bots are created through the social engineering attack. So with this, I'm good to end this session. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Thank you, sir. Okay, if there are no questions, Malvika ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So that was the session on web security and attacks by Mr. Robinson D'Souza. Thank you, sir, for giving us an insight into the different types of attacks, especially eavesdropping attack, man in the middle attack, denial of service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks, and so on. So thanks for the demonstration, that you gave using Wireshark to sniff the packets, and also, burp suit tool for man in the middle attack, in the DOS and the DDoS attack. So explicitly explained, and it was a very informative session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So the next session will be at 2 o'clock, and that is on OWASP Top 10, and that would be taken up by Mr. Loknath Shin. Okay, so after a break of 45 minutes, we come back for the next session at 2 o'clock. Thank you, participants.